How did you get started in this field?
Well, when I went to university, I wanted to be, which is many, many, many years ago, in fact, 40 years ago, I think, I wanted to be a dietitian. And then I read a book called Dibs in Search of Self. I don't even know whether it's still in print. And it was about a little boy who had what now we would consider autism, and a psychologist that worked with him, and it just completely fascinated me. So then I decided that I'd go into psychology. And then in third year, just before I met you, Kevin Walsh was our lecturer in child neuropsychology, and he was just completely charismatic and could weave these wonderful stories about being a detective neuropsychologist, really. And I think that was what put me on the track. And then I did my PhD on learning difficulties, so it's within a neuropsychological framework, but looking at the cognitive skills that underpin learning difficulties. And so that then set me on the course of child neuropsychology.
Okay, so who would you say has influenced you most?
Well, I think Kevin has to, father in neuropsychology in Australia, I think he has to be the most significant influence for someone coming from Melbourne especially. I think Gordon Stanley in terms of the paediatric area, but then my first boss at the Children's Hospital was a woman called Pat Lever, really wise and a great clinician, and she insisted that she supervise me within a clinical context and taught me how to use the Rorschach and the thematic apperception test and all of these kinds of things. I learned about penis envy and castration complex and all those things. I think that kind of requirement to see the mind and the brain together has led me to where I am, and the interest in the psychological side of brain injury.
Okay. Now, do you have any other research interests outside traumatic brain injury?
I do. Well, I suppose in the paediatric area, you can put pretty much everything into acquired brain injury. Yes. But the parenting work that we're doing has certainly broadened out my interest into chronic illness and the psychological traumas around that. But the other area, and the area that gets best funding from NHMRC, is the ADHD area. So we've got a number of large community-based studies and imaging studies and intervention studies on ADHD that we're currently working on.
Okay. And what would you say is your biggest achievement in the work that you've been doing?
The work that has contributed to changing the paradigm in the paediatric area, and I certainly don't take all the credit for that complete change, because there's people like Maureen Dennis and Jack Fletcher who have been really critical too. But really kind of cementing the notion in the paediatric field that early brain injury isn't a good thing. I think that's probably, not just for me but for my group, the biggest achievement that we've had.
And what do you think has made you so successful throughout your career?
Hard work. Luck, being in the right place at the right time. Having good mentors, I think, has been really important. Getting involved with really good collaborators who are generous and smart and strategic. And I think having great students and postdocs that are really exceptional people, and then all of those things being stable over time.
Yeah.